The anime starts by giving a brief glimpse into the myth of the destruction legend. The world is being attacked by Anthrasax, a monstrous creature born from the wicked heart of a human. Despite trying their best, humans couldn't defeat Anthrasax until a radiant beam of light descended from the sky, revealing a winged dragon ready to confront the beast. The dragon, a symbol of hope in dark times, stood tall to battle the evil Anthrasax and safeguard the world from destruction. This intense struggle sets the scene for an exciting adventure as the story's heroes unite to prevent the destruction legend from coming true. The final clash between the dragon and Anthrasax was a lengthy and exhausting fight, taking a heavy toll on humanity. Despite the dragon prevailing, millions lost their lives and civilization suffered greatly in the aftermath. Many countries were destroyed, leading to the emergence of only a few new kingdoms from the ruins. 4 centuries have passed since the legendary battle between the dragon and Anthrasax. In the current era, a man named Osborne leads a horde of monsters to invade Metallica Kingdom. Osborne cleverly chooses to attack when the king, knights, and high priests are away, leaving only the kingdom's soldiers and Princess Sheila Tool Metallicana to defend it. Seeking refuge, Sheila and a small group of soldiers and ministers hide in a cathedral. Among them are 2 children, Yoko Tsunoda and Rushe Ren Ren. Yoko, daughter of the esteemed priest Soda Tsunoda, is among those seeking safety in the cathedral. As the situation worsens inside the cathedral, Yoko recalls a spell her father taught her, capable of summoning a powerful entity or creature in desperate times. Yet Soda had cautioned Yoko that the spell should only be used to rescue the kingdom. To Yoko's astonishment, the entity her father spoke of is sealed within Rushen's body, and the spirit of a renowned wizard named Dark Schneider lies dormant within him. As tensions escalate within the cathedral, Sheila approaches Yoko. Sheila reveals that Soda had entrusted her with the knowledge of the spell Yoko had learned and implores Yoko to use it to protect the kingdom. However, Yoko hesitates, feeling embarrassed and uncertain of her skills. Before Yoko can decide, Osborne and his insurgent forces breach the cathedral, intent on assassinating Sheila. To their shock, they discover that 3 ministers have betrayed them, informing Osborne in exchange for wealth, but Osborne ruthlessly eliminates them. Aware that the enemy had breached their refuge, Yoko, who had previously refused to enact the ritual to revive Dark Schneider, started to reconsider her choice. Yoko had been reluctant to perform the ritual as it necessitated her kissing Rushen as part of the spell. However, when a monster assaulted them and Rushen got hurt and lost consciousness, Yoko recognized the seriousness of the situation and reluctantly carried out the ritual. Rushen's body emitted a massive black aura, transforming him into an adult man, the real form of Dark Schneider. Upon awakening, Schneider was enraged and sought out the great priest who had sealed his soul into the body of an infant boy. Seeing Schneider's emergence, Osborne commanded 2 colossal monsters to attack him. To Osborne's surprise, Schneider effortlessly vanquished the monsters with ancient magic. Osborne, unaware of Schneider's true identity, was astonished by his incredible power. Meanwhile, Sheila was dismayed to discover that Schneider had risen. She recalled the events of 15 years ago, when Schneider had attacked her kingdom, resulting in the death of her elder brother and several of Metallica Kingdom's finest knights. Eventually, Schneider also perished due to the massive war. Despite being reincarnated as Dark Schneider, he still retained some memories and characteristics of Rushen, rendering him obedient to Yoko's commands, as she had always assisted him. Upon hearing people speak of the legendary Dark Schneider, Osborne grew suspicious and accused Rushen of being an imposter. Ordering his army of monsters to attack Schneider, Osborne was met with surprise when Schneider effortlessly defeated the monsters with a single blow. Engaging in a solo battle, Osborne unleashed a potent magic bolt against Schneider, incinerating his body. Additionally, Osborne ruthlessly battered Schneider's seemingly immobile body. To everyone's shock, Schneider quickly rose again, his rage palpable as he unleashed a legendary fire magic, burning Osborne to death. Having emerged triumphant in his confrontation with Osborne and his forces, Schneider stood victorious. Sheila approached him, intending to express her gratitude. However, to her astonishment, Schneider coldly disregarded her and instead sought out Yoko, yearning for her words of appreciation and nothing more. With heavy heart, Sheila watched as Schneider departed from the palace, leaving her behind. Unable to let Schneider leave, Yoko pursued him. Catching up to him, she inquired about his destination. Schneider's response was fueled by a fervent thirst for vengeance. He intended to seek out Yoko's father and initiate a conflict, eliminating anyone who dared to oppose him. Yoko felt a sinking sensation in her heart as she listened to Schneider's words. She knew she had to intervene, but Schneider appeared calm, resembling Yoko greatly, and he kissed her. Unexpectedly, this action caused Schneider to revert back to the form of Lucien. Upon transforming, Lucien couldn't recollect anything about the recent events they had shared. Meanwhile, as Schneider departed from the palace, 4 rebel leaders were in discussion regarding their recent triumph over a small kingdom named Judas. They were taken aback to hear that the individual who had vanquished Osborne possessed a legendary magic called Venom. The 4 leaders resolved to send someone named Kevin Dubu to test the abilities of this sorcerer who had defeated Osborne. After a while, a survivor from the kingdom of Judas made it to the Metallic Kingdom to report to King Asparagus Metallicana about the destruction and attack on his kingdom by rebel forces. The soldier informed Asparagus that a faction of the rebel forces was now heading towards Metallicana Kingdom. Shortly after, Soto arrived with Yoko and Lucien. Soto then briefed Asparagus that the rebel forces had become active, causing destruction to several other kingdoms. Moreover, they had begun activating the Black Clouds, indicating their attempt to resurrect Anthrasax, an ancient and formidable entity. Meanwhile, on the other side of Metallicana, Kevin Dubu arrived with a monster named Hydra in search of Lucien. Upon receiving this news, the kingdom's ministers panicked and recognized the necessity of resurrecting Schneider. Initially hesitant, Yoko eventually agreed after Soto persuaded her. Yoko conducted the ritual, and Schneider was revived. The ministers urgently requested Schneider's assistance in their battle against the rebel forces. However, Schneider surprised them by casually declining their plea, expressing his desire to rule the world instead. Upon hearing this, the soldiers attempted to attack Schneider, but he swiftly conjured a fiery magic, trapping himself along with Soto. Schneider aimed to challenge Soto to a duel, unleashing his magical prowess. Yet, Yoko intervened effortlessly, scolding him like a child. Despite Yoko's control, Schneider remained determined to break free. He had unleashed a Puttin lightning spell, targeting Soto. However, Soto was shielded by a formidable magical barrier, rendering Schneider's attack ineffective. Realizing this, Schneider opted for a different strategy. He purposely injured his own hand, knowing that deep within the palace lay a golem, sealed away by Soto 15 years ago. Driven to resurrect it, Schneider summoned the golem from its confinement. As Schneider's plan neared completion, Kevin and his formidable Hydra appeared. A ferocious clash erupted between the golem and the Hydra, resulting in Schneider's golem emerging triumphant swiftly. Kevin proved to be no match for Schneider's potent magic and was swiftly vanquished. Schneider then disposed of Kevin using the same spell he used to defeat Osborne. With Kevin defeated, Schneider refocused his attention on Soto. However, just as he was poised to strike the final blow, Yoko intervened, successfully reverting Schneider back into Lucien at the 11th hour. Meanwhile, Gora, the leader of a rebel faction, receives news of Kevin's demise at the hands of Schneider. Gora recognizes Schneider as the individual who led the rebellion against the Metallicana Kingdom 15 years prior. Gora and his ninja troops brace themselves to confront the legendary wizard, now aligned with the enemy. Back in the Metallicana Kingdom, Asparagus and his ministers are gripped with fear as dark clouds gather over the kingdom. Soto explains that this signifies the breaking of the first seal guarding Anthrasax, one of the 4 seals imprisoning the formidable entity. The resurrection of Anthrasax has commenced, and Soto warns that this signals impending disaster for the kingdom. One of the ministers mentions Kalsu, the chief leader of the rebel forces and Schneider's top pupil, rumored to wield magic abilities even more potent than Schneider's. Meanwhile, Kalsu confers with Abigail, the individual entrusted with breaking the seals and summoning Anthrasax. They strategize on targeting the next seal, which is safeguarded by the Metallicana Kingdom. As the ministers of the Metallicana Kingdom grapple with the grave situation, they plead with Yoko to resurrect Schneider to rescue them. However, Yoko becomes enraged, expressing that Lucien is not a tool at their disposal. She asserts that Lucien is not to be controlled. That evening, while Yoko and Lucien slept in their chamber, Gera and his soldiers infiltrated the kingdom, easily defeating the 3 guards on duty. Gera proceeded to Yoko's room with the intention of interrogating her about Schneider's whereabouts. However, upon introducing himself, Yoko immediately attacked him. Despite Gera's prowess as a warrior, he swiftly subdued her and took her into custody. The noise from their scuffle roused Lucien from his slumber, who was startled to see Gera. Surprisingly, just Lucian's presence alone was sufficient to awaken Schneider's consciousness, without requiring a kiss from Yoko. Yoko found herself bewildered by the sudden turn of events, but Schneider clarified that her actions had weakened the seal, keeping him trapped within Lucian's body. He elaborated that the seal had been compromised twice, making it easier for powerful magicians like himself to breach it while Lucian slept. As they discussed this development, Soto and his men burst into the room, encircling Gura and the others. Gura summoned a flying creature named Wyvern to aid their escape, taking Yoko with them as they fled. Soto promptly informed Asparagus, their leader, of Yoko's abduction. The ministers urged Asparagus to dispatch soldiers immediately to rescue Yoko, as she was the only one capable of summoning Schneider. The ministers faced challenges in rescuing Yoko due to their lack of knowledge about the rebels' headquarters. Only Schneider knew its location, but he couldn't be revived without Yoko. Understanding this dilemma, Sheila, a member of the royal family, offered to replace Yoko to bring Schneider back to life. She explained that she had trained with Soto before and understood that Schneider's revival required a kiss from a virgin girl. Asparagus, Sheila's father and the group's leader, objected to her involvement in the ritual, emphasizing the significance of a kiss as a symbol of marriage in their culture. This led to a heated debate between father and daughter, culminating in the ministers removing Asparagus from the room. Sheila then conducted the ritual and successfully revived Schneider. The ministers pleaded with Schneider to aid in rescuing Yoko, but he haughtily declined. Sheila, frustrated by his demeanor, slapped him. Surprisingly, the slap appeared to change Schneider's perspective, and he eventually agreed to guide Sheila and some soldiers from the Metallicana kingdom to the rebels' headquarters. Meanwhile, Yoko was held captive by Gura, who had bound her to a pond. Gura informed Yoko that he would set her free if she divulged how to resurrect Schneider. Unbeknownst to them, Schneider had already reached the rebels' headquarters. The ninja swiftly surrounded him, but Schneider effortlessly incapacitated them with a single spell. While this unfolded, Gura persisted in provoking Yoko's jealousy by informing her that Schneider, being 400 years old, had been involved with more than 200 to 300 women in his lifetime. Adding insult to injury, Gura disclosed that one of Schneider's former lovers was still alive and happened to be his own disciple, a member of the Four Heavenly Kings, the leaders of the rebellion. Despite Gura's efforts, he failed to extract the information from Yoko. In a last-ditch attempt, he summoned a slime to envelop her body and coerce her into revealing the method for summoning Schneider. Meanwhile, Schneider and his companions had successfully infiltrated Gura's headquarters. They encountered a formidable minotaur, but Schneider, being resourceful, directed the soldiers to confront the creature while he and Sheila pressed on upstairs toward Gura's location. Following Schneider's lead, the soldiers engaged the minotaur, allowing Schneider to carry Sheila and advance toward Gura's stronghold. As Schneider and Sheila reached the summit, they were immediately attacked by an eyeball monster named Suzuki. Schneider explained to Sheila that Suzuki must have been released when the seal on Judas's kingdom was broken. Despite Suzuki's relentless onslaught, Schneider skillfully evaded and counterattacked. However, Schneider's magic proved ineffective against Suzuki's magical defense. In the midst of battle, Suzuki injured Schneider's arm while he shielded Sheila. Enraged by the injury, Schneider unleashed a powerful black magic spell called Sodom, ultimately defeating Suzuki. The spell was so devastating that it obliterated the monster and its surroundings. In a subsequent room, Schneider informed Sheila that he had depleted much of his magical energy earlier and had only 1 or 2 spells left to use against Gura. Recognizing the dire situation, Sheila seized a sword to aid Schneider in combat. Unexpectedly, the sword Sheila wielded began to move autonomously and slashed into Schneider's body. Aware that the sword was poisoned and would weaken him, Schneider requested Sheila to extract the poison, but she refused. Suddenly, a fire demon named Valor emerged from the sword Sheila had drawn. Without delay, Schneider and Valor engaged in a clash of magical powers. To Schneider's surprise, Valor could wield the same fire magic as him. With Schneider still recovering from the sword's poison, Valor gained the advantage. Despite this, Schneider managed to create a protective magic circle to shield himself and Sheila. Curious, Sheila questioned why Schneider didn't counter fire magic with ice magic. Schneider explained that ice magic was Kalsu's specialty and not his own. Realizing this, Valor intensified his flames, compelling Schneider to abandon the protective circle to protect Sheila from harm. Meanwhile, the soldiers who had defeated the Minotaur ascended the stairs, only to be astonished by the lava flowing from Schneider's battle with Valur. Standing amidst the inferno, Schneider began chanting a spell. He then unleashed Exodus, a fire magic hotter than Valur's, pushing Valur's body into the room where Gura was located. Ultimately, Valur, believed to be unbeatable for 3 centuries, acknowledged Schneider's strength and reverted to a sword. Schneider grasped the sword and directed his focus toward Gura, who had just entered the room. Gura could discern that Schneider was drained, particularly considering the effects of the poison. With arrogance, Gura informed Schneider that although 15 years ago he had led vast armies and nearly conquered the world, his power had now reached its limit, and he wouldn't be able to defeat him. Gura then challenged Schneider to a duel, confidently stating he would defeat his former mentor within 5 minutes. Without hesitation, Gura initiated an assault on Schneider, landing a blow on his body. Nonetheless, Schneider managed to rise, initiating a fierce sword fight between the two. However, since Schneider wasn't skilled in using weapons in combat, he discarded his sword and readied himself to cast venom magic. Yet, before he could do so, Gura swiftly advanced and slashed one of Schneider's arms. In an unexpected turn, Schneider managed to counterattack and disable one of Gura's arms. Despite sustaining similar injuries, they confronted each other, and Gura sought to undermine Schneider's determination by revealing his past violation of Yoko. Gura hoped this revelation would distract Schneider from Yoko and the battle. However, Gura's attempts proved futile as Schneider became furious and prepared to unleash another legendary magic called Megadeath. Observing this, Gura initiated an attack, which Schneider easily repelled. Ultimately, Schneider's assault caused the entire area to tremble before completely demolishing it. Once the dust settled, the two former mentor and student shared a heartfelt conversation. Schneider managed to reattach his severed arm, and shortly after, Sheila arrived to revive Gura's pet dragon. Before the building collapsed, Schneider secretly shielded Yoko, Sheila, and the dragon with protective magic. Despite his defeat, Gura couldn't help but smile, realizing that Schneider was no longer the ruthless and merciless warrior he once was. With newfound respect for Schneider, Gura shared with him and his companions the grave news that the Metallicana kingdom was also under attack by the 3rd unit of the rebel forces. While the group deliberated their next steps, an unexpected development arose. Lars, the quiet small dragon, approached Schneider and requested a private conversation. Meanwhile, Kalsu, a formidable warlord, learned of Gura's defeat and opted to ally with Schneider. Suspecting Schneider of manipulating Gura, Kalsu instructed the leader of the 3rd unit, along with one of the 4 heavenly kings, Arshesne, to eliminate Schneider. Amidst the turmoil, the Metallicana kingdom was embroiled in a significant conflict. Asparagus, the kingdom's ruler, dispatched an envoy to negotiate peace with the rebel forces. However, Nai, driven by ambition and envy, ordered her troops to slay the messenger. Following Kalsu's command to confront Schneider, she promptly returned to her tent to address Gura's rebellion. It turned out that Nai was Schneider's former student and ex-girlfriend, harboring resentment towards him for his past as a womanizer who had been involved with many women. When Schneider attempted to reconcile with her and reminisce about their past, she vehemently rejected him, commanding her subordinate, Ari, to pursue Schneider and eliminate him. Meanwhile, Schneider engaged in a heated dispute with Lars, who was concerned about him. Despite his friend's worries, Schneider remained indifferent and resolved to depart. Determined to understand Schneider's behavior, Lars trailed him. To Schneider's surprise, Lars had uncovered his past and was aware of Nai's feelings for him. Disturbed by this revelation, Schneider warned Lars to cease delving into his personal life or face consequences. While walking, they encountered a young girl fleeing from a giant spider. Without hesitation, Schneider intervened to rescue her, earning her heartfelt gratitude. She disclosed that she was a noble's daughter and extended an invitation for Schneider and Lars to visit her castle. That night, Schneider opted to remain at the castle, assuming it would be easy to charm the girl. However, to his astonishment, the girl turned out to be Ari in disguise, and she captured Schneider using her spider. Ari commanded her spider to devour Schneider, but she was taken aback when she found Schneider standing behind her. It turned out that what her spider had eaten was merely an illusion. Schneider, known for his flirtatious nature, couldn't resist commenting on Ari's beauty, causing her to blush with embarrassment. Ari, who had only experienced the harsh realities of war and had never received compliments before, found herself unable to resist Schneider's charm and yielded to his advances. The following day, Schneider geared up to confront Nye, but Ari cautioned him about the perils awaiting him. She disclosed that, aside from herself, Nye had two other formidable generals under her command, with one of them being empowered with potent magic as their leader. Despite this warning, Schneider remained undeterred and pressed on with his quest undaunted. Meanwhile, Nye discovered Ari's act of defiance and grew furious, believing Schneider had exploited her vulnerability. However, in truth, Schneider had not taken advantage of Ari in any way. Shortly after, Schneider encountered another one of Nye's generals named Kai, a formidable female warrior. She commanded an army of orcs to assail Schneider, who made the mistake of asking Lars, present at the scene, to judge who between him and Kai was more attractive. This insult infuriated Kai, prompting her and her orcs to launch an attack on Schneider. Despite this, Schneider valiantly fought back, and with the assistance of his illusion technique, managed to defeat the orcs and engage in a one-on-one combat with Kai. Prior to their clash, Schneider inquired about the individual responsible for petrifying the people around them. But Kai refused to divulge any information and instead initiated an assault on Schneider. Utilizing his illusion technique once more, Schneider attempted to outmaneuver Kai. Yet she proved to be equally skilled and swiftly outmaneuvered him. The battle intensified, shrouded in uncertainty. Growing increasingly frustrated with Schneider's arrogance, Kai questioned him about Ari's whereabouts, as she had failed to return to their headquarters. With a smirk, Schneider claimed that Ari had betrayed them and had fallen in love with him. Enraged by this revelation, Kai launched another attack on Schneider, but this time, Schneider was prepared. Drawing Valor's sword, which he had obtained from Gera's headquarters, he struck Kai with it, only to be surprised to discover that his opponent was a woman. Kai responded by casting a potent spell that immobilized Schneider and initiated the process of turning him into stone. However, before Schneider could be completely petrified, he provoked Kai, ridiculing her for masquerading as a man to appear strong. Lars grew anxious as he witnessed Schneider gradually transforming into stone. Schneider recognized that the magic Kai employed was ancient and bound by a contract with a deity. However, with numerous gods in the wizarding realm, Schneider struggled to identify which deity Kai had made her pact with, thus hindering his ability to undo her spell. Yet, Schneider's insolence infuriated Kai, prompting her to reconsider and opt to end Schneider with fire magic. Just as Kai prepared to deliver the final blow, Ari intervened, shielding her beloved from harm. She attempted to reason with Kai, asserting that Schneider differed from Kalsu and Nei, and had the potential to surpass them. However, Kai remained obstinate, refusing to heed Ari's words and compelling her to engage in combat. Unfortunately, Ari found herself outmatched by Kai's superior strength. An enraged Kai invoked a spell, invoking the name of her deity Yingwei. However, this proved to be a grave error as Schneider, now armed with the knowledge of Kai's deity, managed to break free from her petrifying magic. Witnessing this, Kai launched another attack on Schneider, but her magic had no effect on him anymore. Schneider mocked Kai, belittling her god Yingwei as a minor deity subordinate to the gods he was affiliated with. He then proceeded to demonstrate the immense power bestowed upon him by his own deity. To Kai's surprise, she still possessed a crystal that could summon a creature named Cock. Without hesitation, she commanded Cock to unleash a gas capable of turning humans into stone. However, since the gas power stemmed from the monster's inherent abilities rather than a divine contract, Schneider could indeed be petrified if exposed. Fortunately, Schneider narrowly evaded the attack. Suddenly, the wind shifted direction, causing the gas to blow towards Kai, who panicked and dropped her crystal, shattering it. This resulted in Cock turning against its master. Seizing the opportunity, Schneider unleashed his full magical prowess, obliterating the monster. Following the skirmish, Schneider tended to Kai's wounds and successfully neutralized the poison within her body. Grateful, Kai expressed her gratitude to Schneider and warned him about Nei's final general, who possessed a magic granting him immortality. Eventually, Schneider bid farewell to the two women as they parted ways. During the night, Schneider, exhausted from his extensive use of magic, unexpectedly found himself transformed into Lucian's form. Fortuitously, he encountered Yoko in the forest, accompanied by soldiers from the Metallicana kingdom. As they gathered around a bonfire, they noticed Lucian carrying a small dragon named Lars. The soldiers mentioned that Lars shared the same name as the prince and Sheila's brother, who had clashed with Schneider in the past. Suddenly, Lars invoked a forbidden spell, metamorphosing into a dragon knight. However, Lars's fate remained uncertain, as his body had never been recovered, seemingly vanishing without a trace. Meanwhile, Ne's final general, Diamond, received news of the defeats suffered by his fellow generals, Ari and Kai, at Schneider's hands. Resolved to avoid a similar outcome, Diamond confidently asserted his distinctiveness from his fallen peers. His power stemmed from his immortal body, acquired by draining the blood of virgins. With Yoko and the soldiers, they suddenly detected a malevolent presence in the atmosphere, prompting them to investigate urgently. To their astonishment, they discovered that the source of this presence was a werewolf, dispatched by Diamond to seek out and capture virgins for him to prey upon. At that moment, Schneider's consciousness took control of Lucian's body, stepping forward to shield Yoko from the werewolf. Unaware that he was confronting Schneider, the werewolf relentlessly attacked Lucian. However, Lucian swiftly struck the werewolf's abdomen and unleashed his venom magic. Although Schneider's consciousness resided within Lucian's body, the venom magic didn't kill the werewolf but was enough to intimidate him. Quivering, the werewolf confessed to working for Diamond, disclosing that Diamond sought pure virgin blood to enhance his magical prowess, aiming to overcome Kalsu and Nai, formidable deities who opposed him. Despite the werewolf's revelations, Schneider didn't hesitate to slay him. Yoko, witnessing Schneider's sudden act of violence, was taken aback. Unbeknownst to them, Diamond had been observing their every move. Diamond, aware of Lucian's true identity and Schneider's souls sealed within his body, recalled Schneider's past as a powerful leader who had waged war against the Four Kingdoms 15 years ago. Diamond acknowledged Schneider's formidable strength and realized he was no match for him. However, with Schneider currently confined within Lucian's body and not fully awakened, Diamond saw an opportunity to defeat him. Acting swiftly, Diamond and his followers ambushed Yoko and her group. Unfortunately, just as they were about to be captured, Lucian's consciousness returned, making it easier for Diamond and his men to seize them. Alongside Yoko's group, Ari and Kai fell into Diamond's clutches. Yet, to Diamond's astonishment, Kai and Ari managed to break free. However, their attempted escape only further enraged Diamond. Furious with his men's failure to apprehend Kai and Ari, he executed one of his subordinates as punishment. Kai and Ari launch an assault on Diamond, but his eternal body enables him to swiftly regenerate any wounds. Diamond seizes Kai and offers her the chance to gain strength by biting her, aiming for her to become powerful enough to challenge Nate and Kalsu. Angered by Ari's defiance, Diamond eventually releases Kai. Kai then informs Ari about Schneider's capture, unaware that Schneider can transform into Lucian. Confidently, Diamond boasts of his ability to easily defeat Schneider at that moment. However, to everyone's surprise, Lucian's body suddenly emits a brilliant light, signaling Schneider's consciousness's return. Meanwhile, in the Metallicana Kingdom, Gura and his ninjas assist the kingdom's warriors in battling rebel forces, following Schneider's request. In Diamond's palace, a fierce struggle for dominance unfolds between Schneider and Lucian's consciousness within Lucian's body. While Schneider is determined to seize power, Lucian remains conscious. Yoko intervenes when Diamond targets Ari, kicking her, which provokes Diamond's anger and leads to Yoko getting injured. Witnessing Yoko's harm, Schneider undergoes a transformation without requiring Yoko's kiss, breaking free from his imprisonment. Outraged, Schneider berates Diamond for daring to harm Yoko, whom he envisions as the mother of his future children. Despite Schneider's lightning spell striking Diamond and his men, Diamond's immortal body renders him impervious to Schneider's magic. Diamond counters with an eye blast that seemingly obliterates Schneider's body, prompting him to boast in arrogance. However, Schneider astounds Diamond by reappearing behind him, having employed illusion magic. Diamond, determined not to fail again, unleashes his magic indiscriminately, even at his own men. However, Schneider effortlessly absorbs Diamond's magic and redirects it, causing the attack to miss its mark and demolish a wall. Aware of the morning sunlight, Schneider exploits Diamond's vulnerability to it, watching as Diamond disintegrates into ashes. Yoko and the others believe Diamond to be defeated, but the immortal vampire transforms into a bat and mocks Schneider, asserting that he will never find his true body. Schneider responds by vanquishing Diamond, tearing off his wings and casting a spell. Schneider discovers that the bat form is linked to Diamond's concealed body and decides to employ the power of the blue nails to control him. He warns Diamond that any further disobedience will result in him being transformed into a frog. Theorying Schneider's power, Diamond agrees to live as a bat. Meanwhile, Gura continues to defend the Metallicana kingdom, unaware that the other 3 heavenly kings are observing his actions through a crystal ball. Abigail cautions that Nay, who has a long history with Schneider, may betray them like Gura did. In anticipation, Abigail enchants Nay with the blue nail magic and hands her the nails. Nay accepts the magic and departs, leaving Kalsu and Abigail behind. After Nay departs, Kalsu and Abigail discuss Schneider's transformation. Kalsu reveals Schneider's past as a ruthless leader who showed no mercy, contrasting sharply with his current role alongside Gura and the 3 Nay generals. Abigail concurs, noting Schneider's drastic change over the past 15 years. Recognizing Schneider as the greatest threat to their plans, Abigail stresses the need to act against him. They decide to proceed to the location of the Anthrasax plant. There they plan to mobilize their forces to break the remaining seals in the Last Kingdoms, while their rebel allies confront Schneider. Meanwhile, Schneider and Yoko bid farewell to Ari, who must accompany Kai to a temple for treatment after her encounter with Diamond. Returning to the Metallicana kingdom, Schneider and Yoko find Gura still battling the rebel forces. Suddenly, Nate appears and challenges Gura. The 2 disciples of Schneider engage in a fierce duel, showcasing their formidable abilities. Gura acknowledges the power of Nei's lightning sword, Raijin, comparable to Schneider's fire sword. Nonetheless, Gura remains composed and launches a counterattack, eventually injuring Nei. However, Nei's illusions fail to deceive Gura, who reveals his ability to create duplicates of himself. As Nei attacks one of Gura's fake bodies, Gura prepares to confront her directly, removing his armor. With 7 duplicates at his command, Gura overwhelms Nei with simultaneous attacks, despite his fake bodies gradually disappearing. Despite Nei's prowess as a skilled swordsman, she struggles to defend against Gura's relentless assault. Their clash produces a massive explosion, yet Nei manages to hold her ground. However, Gura's attack shatters Nei's Raijin sword, leading to his overconfidence. He spares Nei's life, recognizing her significance to Schneider. Gura's triumph is met with cheers from the Metallicana Kingdom's citizens and his ninja army. Unwilling to yield, Nei, despite her broken sword, strikes Gura once more, landing a blow to his stomach. However, before she can deliver the final blow, a magic spell interrupts her. Schneider arrives with Yoko, prompting Nei to recall her envy from their past interactions, when Schneider would often play with other girls while she awaited his return. Suddenly, Schneider appeared behind Nei and softly asked, "Do you have feelings for me?" His unexpected question caught Nei off guard, causing her cheeks to flush with embarrassment. Schneider playfully continued, claiming that among all the women he had encountered over the past century, she held the most special place in his heart. Nei felt a surge of affection, but then recalled Abigail's caution about the consequences of her involvement with Schneider due to the blue nail magic. As Nei's love for Schneider deepened, the color of her nails gradually shifted to purple. If they turned red, it would result in her body's destruction, transforming her into a frog. Aware of this danger, Nei reluctantly bid Schneider farewell, promising to return with reinforcements. Later that evening, as Gura received medical treatment, he cautioned Schneider about Nei's increased strength compared to 15 years ago. He warned Schneider not to underestimate her, as she could pose a serious threat to his life. The next day, life in the Metallicana kingdom returned to normal. Yoko was busy distributing food to soldiers who were repairing the palace walls damaged during the battle between Schneider and Nei. Meanwhile, Soto and Sheila paid a visit to Baba, an elderly fortune teller, seeking information about Schneider's seal. Soto explained to Baba that the seal had been unlocked 3 times by kisses from Yoko and Sheila. Additionally, Schneider had twice managed to take control of Lucian's consciousness without the need for virgin kisses, and he had demonstrated the ability to transform during a battle with Diamond. Upon hearing this, Baba concluded that Schneider had become stronger compared to 15 years ago, and could now remove the seal imposed by Soto and Sheila through his own willpower. Baba revealed that the artificial seal originated from the goddess of love, Inamata, and was designed to confine evil individuals. However, if a sealed person was good and in love, they could release the seal themselves. This suggested that Schneider, once possessing a demonic nature, was now starting to feel love for someone. Suddenly, Baba had a vision of the future through her crystal ball, foreseeing Schneider's body being split open with his heart taken away by someone. Meanwhile, Yoko was taking care of Gura, who expressed his belief that Nei must be the one to defeat Schneider. Gura reasoned that Schneider's downfall was a result of his transformation into a compassionate and kind individual, leaving his past cruelty behind. Upon hearing about Baba's prophecy, Sheila hurried to warn Schneider, but he brushed off the warning. Unbeknownst to them, Yoko overheard their conversation. Baba and Soto were startled when Baba's crystal ball suddenly emitted a bolt of lightning, indicating Nei's arrival. Their prediction was confirmed when Nei stormed the palace, unleashing her powerful Megadeth magic and causing more destruction. Schneider managed to rescue Sheila, Yoko, and Lars just in time. The group was astonished by Nei's mastery of Megadeth magic. With determination, Schneider stepped forward to confront Nei as she charged toward him atop her flying creature. Nei wasted no time and initiated an assault on Schneider. In response, Schneider employed a spell to elevate the battle into the air. However, Nei's newly repaired sword held a surprising capability. It unleashed an ancient magic that formed an energy sphere, capable of absorbing magical energy. Nei informed Schneider of this development, resulting in his magic being absorbed, causing him to plummet from the sky as he could no longer utilize magic. Meanwhile, Gera realized that Nei was committed to fighting without relying on magic, opting to depend solely on her Raijin sword. Despite Nei's relentless sword strikes, Schneider managed to parry her attacks with his magic. Nonetheless, his magic was swiftly absorbed by Nei's energy sphere. Left defenseless, Schneider found himself cornered by Nei. Suddenly, Ifrit, the Red Demon, intervened, declaring that he wouldn't allow her to harm his master, Schneider. Ifrit transformed into a fire sword, which Schneider wielded against Nei's Raijin sword. Utilizing Ifrit as his weapon, Schneider launched an attack on Nei, ultimately defeating the flying monster she was riding on. Armed with their legendary swords, the two warriors engaged in combat. Watching the intense duel, a ninja inquired of Gura which sword held greater strength, the fiery blade or the lightning-imbued one. Gera acknowledged the fire sword's potency, yet emphasized that the skill and prowess of the wielder were equally vital in determining victory. Presently, Nei held the advantage due to her superior swordsmanship, while Schneider's inability to wield magic left him significantly disadvantaged. As Schneider and Nei prepared for their final strike, each channeling their power into a decisive blow, spectators held their breath. The tension mounted as the two clashed fiercely in a flurry of swordplay. Nei gained momentum, driving Schneider to the brink of defeat. However, in a surprising turn, Ifrit, Schneider's fiery sword, spoke out. Ifrit asserted the necessity of Schneider's strength for the world and vowed not to let him falter. To the amazement of all, Ifrit sprang to life and joined the fray, engaging Nei's Raijin sword head-on. Ifrit bravely hurled himself into the lightning sphere, wielding his sword to shatter it, despite knowing it could cost him his existence. Despite Ifrit's selfless act, Nei persisted in her assault on Schneider, landing a decisive blow to his head. As Schneider lay defeated, he recalled Ifrit's sacrifice, and a brilliant light emanated from his body. This signified Ifrit's success in dismantling the energy sphere, freeing Schneider's magic once more. Renewed by the return of his magic, Schneider and Nei resumed their battle, now both armed with magic. They soared into the air, launching their initial attacks. Schneider then unleashed the Exodus magic, which had once been under Ifrit's command. To everyone's astonishment, Nei demonstrated proficiency with the same magic. However, just as they were about to clash, memories of Schneider's past with Nei flooded his mind, triggering a colossal explosion as their magics collided. After the explosion, Schneider, the renowned sorcerer, appeared to have succumbed in the battle's aftermath. However, much to everyone's surprise, he emerged unscathed from the debris. Despite enduring Nei's formidable magic, Schneider remained upright and as confident as ever. Yet Nei sensed his injury, a consequence of employing the potent Exodus spell. Nevertheless, undaunted, Nei geared up to launch another attack, but Schneider's unexpected confession of love halted her in her tracks. Though a blush colored her cheeks, Nei refused to be swayed by Schneider's avowal. She summoned Gilbert, her thunder magic spirit, and the duo ascended into the skies. Schneider followed suit, conjuring his own fire magic spirit. Thus began a clash of elemental forces, with the two engaging in a fierce aerial duel. Spells were exchanged fervently as both wizards vied for supremacy. Amidst the ferocious battle, Nay expressed her vision of a utopian kingdom, one devoid of discrimination and warfare. However, Schneider remained cynical, convinced that animosity and strife were inherent to human nature. Drawing from her own experiences of discrimination as an elf, Nay passionately argued for the necessity of a new world where she and others like her could live in peace. Moved by her words, Schneider embraced Nay, pledging to be her source of tranquility, negating the need for her envisioned world. Although swayed by his words, Nay's nails began to ominously turn red. Meanwhile, Abigail observed the conflict between Schneider and Nay through a crystal ball, his expression sinister. He unveiled the secret to breaking Nay's blue nail magic, killing Schneider and extracting his heart. Back in the midst of battle, despite her profound love for Schneider, Nay opted to continue fighting him, ultimately overpowering him. However, the inner conflict caused her nails to shift to a crimson hue, triggering her lightning spirit to spiral out of control, unleashing chaos in all directions. Nay, sensing the impending conclusion, issued a final challenge to Schneider. In their ultimate clash, they unleashed all their remaining strength, exchanging fierce blows in a decisive battle. Their spells of destruction culminated in a massive explosion that shook the battlefield. Despite Nay's courageous struggle, Schneider's magic proved overwhelming. Nay was on the verge of defeat when Lucien suddenly appeared. Lucien revealed that Nay had been poisoned with blue nail magic by Abigail. Learning this infuriated Schneider, prompting him to halt his assault. In a climactic moment, Schneider approached Nay with a plan to save her life. Demonstrating remarkable selflessness, Schneider willingly sacrificed his own heart to free Nay from the curse of the blue nail. So the moral of the story is, even if you're a powerful wizard, don't forget to check your nails for strange colors, or you might end up giving your heart away to save your enemy.